UAE imposes 15-year prison sentence for expressions of sympathy towards Qatar. Gunmen attack Iran's parliament and Khomeini shrine. Failed early warning disaster management system cost the country more than 29 million euros in foreign debt. Who is this? Why was he asked to leave the Presidential Commission of Inquiry? Final draft on proposed code of ethics for MPs tabled in Parliament. A Pentagon report reveals that China to set up military bases in Pakistan.
What happened to the project to create an early disaster warning system in the country? What happened to the staggering 29 million euro loan that came into the country for the enactment of this project? Tonight, Newsfirst takes a look.
Following the tsunami disaster in the year 2004, the need for an early disaster warning system and an instant response system in the country became a priority. Taking this into consideration, the then Secretary to the Ministry of Disaster Management, P.D. Amarasinghe, signed an agreement on the 10th of December 2007 with J.V. Mertens, a director of a company in the Netherlands, Search and Rescue Operation BV. A project of 6.6 million euros was suggested. A loan of 4.5 million euros was obtained from the Rabobank International in the Netherlands. An emergency operations center that operates for 24 hours, provides data collection, analysis, a research center establishment of 10 centers in rural areas, and the establishment of 50 early warning towers was suggested under the project. In a bid to broaden this process, the director of the Dutch company signed another agreement in the year 2009 with the Secretary of the Ministry of Local Governments and Provincial Councils at the time, HPC Herat. According to the agreement, the loan amount received from the Rabobank International in the Netherlands was 24.9 million euros. According to this new agreement, it was suggested to allocate finances to renovate 2 fire and rescue centers, establish 18 such new centers, establish 25 more early warning towers, 15 emergency operations centers in 15 districts, and to modernize the disaster management building. Thereby, a total of 29.4 million euros has been obtained from the Rabobank International in the Netherlands under these 2 agreements. The main objective of all this was to identify disasters beforehand, collect, analyze and communicate this information to these island-wide centers. So the operation would act swiftly to provide protection to the people with the provincially established fire and rescue centers. A satellite communications center was paramount importance for this project to be carried out. The first phase of this project was to focus on a VSAT, a very small aperture terminal satellite. Even though the agreement said that it would be constructed in a plot of land belonging to the Disaster Management Center, it was later constructed at the satellite center in Paducah. According to a technical evaluation produced to the Director General of the Disaster Management Center in August 2014, the system has only functioned for 2 months.
No, it was a loan. Definitely. It was not there when I took over. You cannot fix it again. It was broken. There have been expenses. I do not know that. I will not speak of things that I do not know. There were several investigations, but no one has been proven guilty.
Even though the minister expressed the above, according to the agreement reached with the suppliers, Search and Rescue Operation and International Center for Emergency Techniques, BV, the responsibility of the system remains with the suppliers for 3 years. The repairs of the system has to be carried out by the 2 suppliers in that time frame. J.V. Mertens has signed the agreement as the director of one of the suppliers, Search and Rescue Operation BV. News First received a walkie-talkie given under this disaster recovery program several years ago. According to the estimates, the cost of one of these walkie-talkie devices exceeds 300,000 rupees. Loans of 29.4 million euros delivered a redundant 24-hour disaster management program, leaving the country with the most basic disaster warning system.
When I travelled to Akuressa, they told me that they were informed of this using loudspeakers. This has happened at other places as well. This will happen even if I am here or not. There is a plan. There were no backhoe machines at the time. We dug the rubble by our hand to recover the bodies. If a backhoe machine was there, at least 2 or 3 more people would have been saved.
29.4 million euros as per the current conversion rate is 5.056 billion rupees. What has been done for the disaster management of the country after obtaining such large amounts as loans? The recruitment of retired Gram Maniladari officers was raised in Parliament today.
The government is preparing to recruit retired Gram Niladhari officers to fill the existing vacancies. I have with me the recommendations made by the ministers. Retired Gram Niladhari officers are recruited based on the recommendations of the MPs of the respective provinces. Of the 14,022 Gram Niladhari jurisdictions, 5,700 have been affected by natural disasters. As some areas face demarcation issues, we have requested for the retired officers to be reinstated. We will take steps to immediately recruit them. If a retired person is still in service, his service will be terminated following the appointment of the new officer. You have sent a letter on the 27th of April 2017. This means that he was aware that floods will affect those areas in June. He is more suitable to be the Minister of Disaster Management and not the Minister of Home Affairs. I think the Doppler radar is on your head. Because of the failure to take proper decisions in relation to electorates, local government elections have also been postponed. That is why I prepared the document earlier. Who made the recommendations? Your own MPs have done so.
At the Cabinet media briefing today, questions were raised regarding politicians distributing relief items which were originally sent by people from various parts of the island.
I was informed that an organized mudslinging campaign was being carried out on Facebook. As justice should prevail, I have filed a complaint with the Criminal Investigations Department. I believe that they have found the source of this campaign. They have identified the person behind this. He is the secretary to the son in a certain family. The Criminal Investigations Department has received many such complaints. This person is in fear now and has requested me to take action against those people. That is why they have made such posts on social media.
දැන් ඊයේත් මම පොලිස්පතිතුමාට කතා කරා මේ භික්ෂුන් වහන්සේ හැංගිලා ඉන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒක නිසා මේ දැන් කණ්ඩායම් හතරක් දාලා මේ හොයනවායි කියලා කිව්වා. මේ ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ නමක් හොයාගන්න බැරි තරමට අපේ ආරක්ෂකයන්ට පොඩ්ඩක් වෙනවා. ඒක තමයි මමත් බැලුවේ මොකද කියලා මෙච්චර පාරක්. බුදුමා කියන්නේ අමාත්‍යවරයෙක් ඉන්නවද? නෑ මම දන්නේ නෑ ඒකයි මම කිව්වේ. මේ තරම් කාලේ ඇඟිලා හිටියද ඒක. ඒක ලොකු දෙයක් නෙමෙයි මෙච්චර කාලේ ඇඟිලා ඉන්න එක මේ පොඩි කුඩා රටේ.
Views on the issues surrounding ministry officers were also expressed at the Cabinet media briefing today.
Even though the cabinet was reshuffled, the subjects have not been gazetted as yet. In the meantime, reports are emerging that ministers are quarrelling over officers. What is this about? It is not good for the government, isn't it? There is nothing like that. The issue is the facilities of these officers. So they will be resolved through discussions because this office has never been occupied by a state or deputy minister. For instance, if someone new comes to my ministry, he or she won't have an office for a while. So there are issues like this at ministries. Even I want to recruit an official to a particular position, but I am in a bit of a pickle because I cannot allocate an office. So when it comes to a deputy minister, we can't give just any room. It has to be relatively big. This is the issue here.
No,
he is involved with the flood situation these days. Tomorrow I am going there to speak with him. He will be running around in that district doing various work. He will assume duties soon. If two parties can come together and form a government, allocating an office should not be a problem.
The former chief dealer of the Bank of Ceylon believes that market-sensitive information from the Central Bank of Sri Lanka had reached other parties prior to the controversial bond auction. Newsfirst's Zulfikar Fazan reports on day 47 of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry.
The presence of a member in the gallery who had been in attendance all morning was brought to the attention of the bench. When informed that he was the CEO of Perpetual Treasuries Limited, Kasun Palisena, Justice Prasanna Jayawardena and KT Chittusri instructed Palisena to leave the premises immediately. The police also inspected the logbook to ascertain whether he had submitted his details before entering. JKD Dharmapala was providing evidence in relation to the phone conversations with CEO of Perpetual Treasuries Limited, Kasun Palisena, that had taken place before the auction ends on the 27th of February 2015. Now, when this evidence was being led, Kasun Palisena was in fact inside the courtroom. And at this moment, Deputy Solicitor General Dappula D. Livea raised stern objections against his presence, and the Commission, taking these objections into consideration, requested Kasun Palisena to leave the courtroom immediately and also instructed Nihal Fernando, President's Counsel, who is representing Perpetual Treasuries Limited, if he wants to consult Kasun Palisena in relation to any matters that are raised, a submission has to be made to the Commission. JKD Dharmapala, the former chief dealer of the Bank of Ceylon, said BOC had no interest or intention of investing in a 30-year bond as they cannot determine the long-term interest rates. Several phone conversations surrounding the Bank of Ceylon bids were played at the Commission today. One of the phone conversations played was between JKD Dharmapala and the CEO of Perpetual Treasuries Limited, Kasun Palisena. Palisena had requested the Bank of Ceylon to make a bid on behalf of Perpetual Treasuries for the 30-year bond that was on offer. Dharmapala informed Palisena to send him an email with the rates before he could accommodate the request. The witness said that before receiving the email, Palisena had contacted him on his official mobile phone and asked if he had placed the bid. Dharmapala had insisted again that an email be sent. It was received moments before the auction closed. Accordingly, Palisena had requested the BOC to make a bid of 3 billion rupees at a rate of 12.5%. Dharmapala disclosed that before the day of the auction, an employee of the central bank identified as Mr. Salochana had visited the BOC to make a bid of 750,000 rupees, citing that the rates for the auction will be above the tentative coupon rate. Dharmapala suspected that the employees' provident fund had come through Perpetual Treasuries Limited to bid at the auction, as the amounts of the bid were those usually made by the EPF.
In one of our headline-making stories, the US Defense Department released a report saying it had reason to suspect that China could be eyeing Pakistan as a possible location for a foreign military base. The Pentagon said the world can expect a more military-minded China to continue expanding its defense outposts outside its borders. The Pentagon said that it estimated China's defense spending to be around $108 billion, significantly higher than its officially stated budget of $140 billion. Beijing built its first overseas military base in the African nation Djibouti on the eastern edge of the Indian Ocean. China has cited anti-piracy missions as reason behind its construction in Djibouti, which was already home to a large US naval base. The military expansion ties into a broader Chinese initiative to build a new Silk Road of ports, railways and roads to expand trade across an arc of countries through Asia, Africa and Europe. And countries including Pakistan and Afghanistan welcome it as a path out of poverty. China, however, has denied the claims made in the Pentagon report.
The final draft of the proposed standing orders and parliamentarians' code of ethics were tabled in Parliament by the Speaker. It is due to be approved by Parliament on a future date.
I wish to the House that I will be tabling the final draft of the proposed Code of Ethics for parliamentarians to ensure that the high standards expected by the general public from MPs are maintained, the trust placed on us is not tarnished, and to ensure that a better service is provided by Parliament. I hope it will be approved and it will be passed as soon as possible. I call on the active contribution and support from all MPs for this purpose. The copies of these documents are placed before your seats.
Views were expressed regarding the future political leadership in the country on the Newsline program aired this morning.
Who can succeed?
I mean, there's young Premadasa, there is young Vijayawardena, there is Harsha De Silva. But the thing is, they never get a chance because the party hierarchy prevents them. Mahinda Rajapaksa and Ranil Wickremesinghe have developed such a coterie around them. The establishment prevents emerging people, and today young people who two generations have been forgotten, and today still we are living with the old-timers of 45 years.
The Sri Lanka National Council convened a media briefing today.
This is a letter issued from the Prime Minister's office and it has been issued in English. This is a letter in relation to the cess tax. No one can deny this. When such a serious policy decision is made, the President must be kept informed. This is not the promise they made to the people. In the policy statement of the President, there is a clear direction on trade, but that is not being implemented. It is being done according to the needs of a few racketeers. This is a document prepared by those who have no love for the The report on corruption allegations against 4 councillors of the Northern Provincial Council was tabled at the council by the Chief Minister of the Northern Province, C.V. Vigneswaran.
People pin their hopes when they elect us. They believe that we will function in an unbiased and transparent system. This committee is appointed to keep that promise. Exploitation of power and money having biases will question our governance. We need to rectify our setbacks.
A program to provide drinking water to the flood-affected people from Angunukola Palasa took place today under the auspices of Minister Sajid Premadasa.
Drinking water was provided to 2,028 families from the Palamporu Gramaniladari jurisdiction in Angunukola Palasa.
Political opponents have made use of the floods for political mileage. They claim that a disaster similar to the tsunami had taken place and the damage has not been estimated. They say that we undertake projects marred with waste. They say our agenda is based on greed. I must note that the damage caused has been estimated, funds have been allocated and the work has already commenced. But there is a big difference between the program that took place during the tsunami and our program. Some of the relief filled the pockets of the elite, but the relief for floods will not fill the pockets of the politicians.
A ruby worth around 10 million rupees has been confiscated.
Airport customs detected the precious gemstone after a 33-year-old man attempted to carry it to Dubai last morning. Despite being small in size, its rare nature puts a price tag of around 10 million rupees. The gemstone was discovered inside a smaller compartment in the passenger's hand luggage. He was arrested for attempting to illegally carry a gemstone out of the country and was released on a fine of 100,000 rupees.
The Sarvanya relics that will be placed at the Sirasa Pulathisi Poson Udane were moved to the Dambulla Raj Mahavihara today.
The procession carrying the sacred Sarvakna relics left the Nelligal International Buddhist Center following religious observances. The sacred relics that were placed in the Galvihara along with 18 other relics will be moved to the Poson zone.
As the country was battered by disasters, I pray the country never faces such a situation again. We hope that the country would experience a better period in the future. I call on all the people to join in this endeavour and obtain blessings that will bring about prosperity to the country.
සියලුම ජනතාවට මම එකතු වෙන්න කියනවා මේ ආශිර්වාදය ලබා ගන්න මේ ආශිර්වාදය තුලින් තමයි අපි රටට සෞභාග්‍ය උදා කරන්නේ.
The motorcade carrying the sacred relics reached the Walagamba Pirivena, the Dambulla Raj Mahavihara. Devotees lined up the streets of Aladenia, Katugastota and Matale to pay reverence to the relics. Tomorrow, the relics will be moved to the Galvihara in Polonnaruwa from Dambulla. Preparations are underway for various programs that will be conducted at the historical Galvihara on Poson Poya Day, which is tomorrow. A pandal and lanterns have also been set up at the premises in line with the events that will take place at the Sirasa Pulathisi Poson Udane.
At the Cabinet media briefing today, questions were raised on Susantika Jayasinghe's attempt to auction her Olympic medal.
The Ministry of Sports has allocated a large sum for her. She does not understand the value of anything. I am not concerned of her inability to manage her income. There are many who won Commonwealth medals. If this medal is auctioned, I welcome that. I will place the medal at the Ministry of Sports. I will bring a law in the future that no one can make any claim to a media. If the medal belongs to the government or the country, that cannot be sold. We need such regulations. There is no value if they sell it off as they please.
Well, that's a wrap from all of us here at the English News Desk. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
And I am Shahin Jurangpati. Good night and take care.